show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
What's up, everybody? Thanks for joining me today, live and thriving with my good friend Aaron Sims. Me and Aaron go way back. He is co-founder of an amazing company called Fasmussen. I'm repping the hat here today. Also co-founder of Enroll Medicare. This guy has a lot of industry experience, and he's done something unique in the marketplace that we want to talk about today and unpack for you today regarding how you can get access to and be able to work Google and Bing search leads, organic search leads, paid search leads. But either way, they are people who are actively searching out for these types of plans, which always makes them going to be a lot higher intent in terms of wanting to get a plan, convert on a plan. And so, Aaron, thanks for being on here today with me, my friend. How's your day going?
Man, thank you for having me. Day is kicked off really well. So excited to be on the podcast, be talking to you about our system and that intro video, bro. I was getting hyper. I was getting hypey, man. I was like totally backstage watching it and I was like, man, it's a banger. I love it. So it was good. Thank you for that. I needed that.
Absolutely, man. So tell me, what is it like? Where's the brainchild here for coming up with Fasmussen and how you want to roll this out to the independent agent and how to get them access to it?
Yeah, for sure. So I'll give you a little bit of background. So we've been at the digital part of Medicare enrollments since like late 2019. And prior to that, I had been affiliated with the broker space, as well as did quite a bit of little work in call centers. And so aggregating traffic, working with independent agents inside one building, and like how do you bring in prospects and leads, and how do you optimize that experience, not just for the visitor and the prospect looking for a Medicare product, but for the agents, right? And so this year we wanted to design the reason why we built Fasmussen was because we didn't have a solution out of the box that would rotate our traffic through independent agents and treat them essentially like they're a call center, or give them the efficiency, optimize them in a way that they can work, anywhere, on the road, not be sitting behind a computer all day, and give them access to our traffic, right? Our byproduct is we have visitors searching for Medicare related information. Google, Bing, they go to our articles, they read about Medicare's Part A and B. And so we wanted to build just a couple of different tools to include the agents in the digital space, right? They're a huge component for us now. But it's a little bit different. So we taste, smell, feel like a lead company, but we're really not.
Yeah.
We're more of like a digital aggregator. And so the experience so far, we launched at MedicareCon this year in April. I know you and I got a chance to sit down there and talk about it, but it's been phenomenal. I think for the most part, agents have had a pretty good experience, and I'll let you take it from there or ask any other questions. But that's kind of how we came up with the idea, is efficiency.
So what I want to do, and again, because we're live, and the reason I love going live is because agents who are watching right now, feel free to ask questions as we start to unpack how this program works, and also obviously how you get access to it. But it's always good as we're explaining things and how it works and how you get access, that you can pop in, ask questions. We're watching live, so we'll be able to answer your questions as they come through. Now, the next thing I wanted to really dive into, though, is again, when we talk about how you're unique in your approach, so many agents have been really groomed to look at the business and growth of their business by buying leads. And so they really always look at CPL, cost per lead. And the approach you take is going to be different because you're more focused on cost per acquisition. And you and me both coming from call center spaces, we definitely focus a lot more on cost per acquisition versus cost per lead. The cost per lead can be important, but obviously when you're looking at how you designed your program, the CPA is what took precedence, and you're trying to help agents understand a different way of looking at their investment than what they traditionally do when they're currently buying leads from other lead vendors. So if you don't mind kind of unpacking that and maybe throwing out some numbers that to help put perspective to the agent of how things work.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's a really good point. I'm glad you brought it up. So there's two metrics that differentiate the independent agent and a larger agency owner, and even more so, as you and I both know, in a call center. These two metrics that we use are CPL versus CPA, and this is critical, right? If you go, like, I'll just define them really quickly so we know what we're talking about. CPL, a digital marketing pricing model whereby the advertiser pays a pre-established price for a lead generated. What does that mean? That means you're going to call ABC advertising company and you say, I want to spend $500 a month. And they say, great, depending on your vertical, we're going to, those leads are going to cost you anywhere from $5 to $15. And so 500 divided by 15, you get that $15 a lead. You get X number of leads per month just for you to work. Okay. And for most of us, especially when guys and gals are just starting out in the business, they don't have a lot of money to spend on marketing, right? They're doing some door knocking, they're doing some cold calling. And so getting that cost per lead down as low as possible is critical, right? They want to be paying $2 and $3 per lead. Okay.
Right.
As you grow into, adding a member to your team, adding somebody to your office, as your agency starts to grow, you'll find that a lower cost per lead takes more time to contact, more days to work, to get in touch with, and it has a lower percentage of converting. And when I say converting, I mean, you're not paying that marketing company $500 a month to do nothing, right? Your goal is to enroll people into a Medicare related plan. And so that's just not as optimal as you start to scale. And so CPA, I'll define it real quick, a marketing metric that measures the total cost, and that's critical, the total cost of a consumer completing a specific action, such as enrolling into a plan you presented to them. Total cost means everything that you've spent to acquire that Medicare Advantage policy or that Medicare supplement policy. Okay, that's not $2 or $3, right? We're going to include your time, your overhead, your advertising costs. And we know, you and I both know, that let's say if we can shoot for under a $300 or a $400 cost per acquisition, we can be profitable, right? Profitable. And that's really good. And so that's how our system, and the reason why I say we're not a typical lead vendor is because we see it as leasing our traffic, right? We in the past, when folks were, let's say, they would be visiting our site in the state of Texas, they enter a county that we don't provide any services for. Well, we just gave them a quote and we didn't give them anything. We didn't give them anybody to contact, right? They couldn't contact us internally because we don't retail these. They can't call enrollmedicare.com. If you've noticed on our website, we don't have any phone numbers. They can't call our site and get any additional questions answered, right? We cannot enroll them into a plan. That's not what we do. And so now we see this as a training opportunity for agents to say, we do charge a subscription fee to Fasmussen for $379 a month. And what we tell most agents, and this is on average, right? We've worked with about 40 agents now. On average, you're going to write in between 3 and 6 new plans per month. Okay. You've got agents that are going to write more than that, and you got agents that are going to write a little bit less than that on average. And so we're looking at the law of averages here. So over 90 days, we tell agents your cost per acquisition is substantially lower paying our subscription fee versus what you would buy with a bulk lead vendor.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. So I mean, so from
holes in it. Tell me where do you want to go from there?
So from a numbers perspective, then again, you said 3 to 6. 3 to 6 deals are going to be written off of that $379 monthly membership fee. So that means, let's just say 4 deals were written at $350 per deal for the year, and most people are going to be getting advanced or paid up front. That means they're going to get a gross of $1,400 that they're bringing in from the leads they're working through Fasmussen. And
Yes.
again, you subtract out that $379 membership fee, then they're still profiting $1,000 or $1,021 in that scenario. But there's a lot of agents who, if they're writing people who on an MAPD plan and they're making north of $400, like the numbers can be quite a bit different in the positive for the agent. But the agent has to understand a little bit more about how this program works. So let's say somebody subscribes to Fasmussen. What does it look like to them? Because again, their current thinking is that they pay $379 and they're going to expect a certain amount of leads for that money, but that's not quite how it works. So I want you to unpack how it works so that they can have a better understanding.
No, that's good. So this is the part where this has taken a little bit of time. The adoption rate for this has been pretty intense in a good way. And so I say for everybody, spend 90 days on the platform. Okay. You're going to pay $379 a month, which is $1,137. You're going to spend that with me. On average, if you sell 4 plans per month, your average or your cost per acquisition in the high range is going to be about $101 per plan. Okay.
Which is phenomenal.
Which is very good, especially in the field. In the field, and that's using a projected average over 90 days at a 15% conversion. So I just got off the phone with an agent today, and he didn't understand exactly how the system works. Meaning, for Fasmussen, we cap most agents on the standard plan at 25 total contacts per month. So there is a cap in there. Okay. What we say is we don't need to increase that cap because of our conversion. Over 90 days on the high range, we converted about 25%. On one-to-one, meaning you make one phone call, one contact, we converted about 8%. So it's a little bit lower. Oh, and the reason why there's a gap in between one-to-one and 90 days is because our target market is early Medicare. And so you're looking at people that are aging into Medicare, first-time retirees, just signed up or in the process of signing up for Medicare's Part A and B. They don't have their information yet. And so a lot of these agents are booking sales a month or 2 months out off of that prospect before they can actually do the enrollment. So they're TCPA compliant for 90 days. So we have a 90-day window that we can do those enrollments in, right?
Right.
Before I, the actual aggregator, not the agent, just me, cannot continue to contact them. And so that's what we want agents to look at. On an average, a really solid agent, just doing 4 plans a month, you're going to profit $2,800.
That's solid.
Yeah. I mean, you're going to, and do you want me to answer that? Spell Fasmussen.
I'm going to actually put it on screen real quick so they can see.
There you go. I know it's a wild name, so we kind of retrofitted it into our thing this year. So
I love the hat though. You don't even know how much I sport this hat, bro. I wear it all over the place, man. I'm advertising for you for free, brother. Look at me. I'm just walking around with this hat all the time just because I love the way it looks.
Well, I'm friends with you for free, so you know what I mean. It's like I'm just playing.
That's a good trade.
Exactly, man. I should have ordered. You know what? I ordered for that event. I ordered T-shirts and fanny packs and all this crazy swag. Those hats were gone in like the first day, and I was like, I should have just ordered 800 hats. Lesson learned, right? Because now I have a box, 350 medium T-shirts that I'll never be able to fit in. I'm just gonna give them away.
So the one thing though, so again, you're now somebody. Let's say me, I'm an agent who sees this podcast and says, I want to
Yes.
try this out. I want to try this out for 3 months, $379 a month. Two things that I remember you had told me that's good to point out. Number one, this isn't your end all be all marketing strategy. Like this isn't going to be
Right.
like, hey, you only subscribe to Fasmussen and this is how you're going to kill it in AEP. This is designed to be in addition to other things that you're doing, because as we talked about, there will be a cap to how many leads you could get in a given month. The other part of it though is that, if you don't mind, talk a little bit more about how it works when somebody goes on to Google or to Bing and they search for Medicare products and they come up to your site and they want more information. They become a lead essentially.
Yeah,
What
absolutely.
happens on the back end that people can see and know, like what is it that happens?
So
And
a
then the
couple
other
things to
question is, the other thing that I wanted to point out, because yeah, this is another thing that you could talk to is, should an agent who just works in their surrounding county, is this a good fit, or should they be multi-state agents? And if so, how many states should they have if they wanted to subscribe to something like this?
Yeah, so I'm glad you brought that up. So I recommend, and I've had inbound, I've had conversations with agents that just have, and I will tell them just brutally upfront. I tell every agent have a minimum of 5 states, depending on what those 5 states are. Now, if you have a California, a Texas, a Florida, you can afford to have a lower number of states and still get the same amount of action. But for most of the time, I would recommend nobody come onto our platform if they have under 5 states, because we advertise nationally, right? We're G2 certified on Google, and we're really active in about 44 states is where our focus is. So if you're an agent in Montana or Utah, great agent. I mean, I talked to a Utah agent the other day, and he's got a great little spot in his community. However, outside of that community, he doesn't really focus, and he doesn't do a ton of business over the phone. And I was like, man, to be truthful, our platform just really is probably not designed for your current business model, right? A lot of the business is not going to be face to face. It's going to be over the phone. And so if you don't have a comfort level there, right? If you don't have more than 5 states, a lot of our agents that do really well have north of 10 states. It allows us to acquire, because again, we acquire traffic at a very specific cost per acquisition, right? We don't overbid on traffic. We're not going to overpay Google to send us prospects that we want. And so, our marketing campaigns are really broad, and they're in 44 states. And so the more states that you have, the more opportunities that we're going to be able to give you or tee you up with a prospect, right? So that's really important. The other piece that you mentioned in the very beginning of that was, dang it, I forgot it, Eric. What was your first question in that set?
Oh, the bidding process, right? Because it's not that just they get 25 leads that just come to them because they're in those states,
Yes.
and it caps. Talk to them about the bidding process and how I guess that works. Or I don't even know if bidding is the right word. It's probably not. But
No,
go
I
ahead.
think it's like bidding, but we don't automatically append any prospect to one agent. Okay, we have a central. The Fasmussen is built in a way that you have a central dispatch. And so let me give you an example. Me and Eric are licensed in the state of Kansas. A prospect comes through and makes an agent request. Okay, that means they're looking at a quote on enrollmedicare.com, and we want an agent to be matched within 30 seconds or be in contact with that request within 30 seconds of that request being made. Okay. And I've said this a million times, we always will optimize for the visitor of enrollmedicare.com. So Eric and I both get a text message and a web notification that a prospect is ready in a state that we're licensed in. Okay, we do a nipper pull. We know exactly what state you're licensed in. And I know that Eric and I both have a Kansas license. So to go one level deeper, we both get the notification at the same time. Whoever gets to the Fasmussen system first and clicks own gets that prospect. And so we're both not getting the prospect's information. Eric, let's say, gets there 5 seconds faster than me. He contacts the person. Okay. So next Kansas agent or next Kansas prospect that comes through, because Eric got the last one before me, he now has a 60-second delay on his notification. So the system is going to optimize for an opportunity for me, right? Maybe I was in a doctor's appointment. Maybe I was filling up my car with gas. That's fine. It's not your fault. We're still wanting to give you every opportunity to re-engage with that Kansas agent and not penalize Eric, but we know that we just served him a prospect, right? And so now we both in Kansas, I get the notification 60 seconds before Eric does. Now, this is in a grouping of 20 and 30 agents, right? So this is going to happen automatically and go back and forth. So imagine being at the front of the line and being at the back of the line. Okay.
Yeah.
And our goal is to optimize that for 25 total requests per month, knowing that our leads convert at X, right? So we can say, I've had people come and come on the platform and it not, and that be a real big issue, meaning accidentally be honest with me. Hey, I took 25 prospects and I haven't called any of them. And I'm like, hey, listen, like we want you to, these are absolutely, these are time sensitive. Okay.
Yeah.
We want you to call them, only take what you need. Okay. So we allow the agents to govern themselves and know that if you're busy during that time, it's going to go to another agent. Right. So we don't want you to take a prospect and call them 2 weeks from now. Okay. They know how the digital market works, right? They've gone back to the internet and now they're getting 15 calls an hour from SelectQuote. Right. This is, we set out to give us field agents, us field marketers, people that still write business, independently, an advantage to compete with the big call centers.
Hold on real quick. I'm getting notification that we're frozen. So let me just double check and make sure the feed isn't frozen on our end. Because I mean, obviously you and me are able to talk to each other and see each other. So it might be something on the social media side.
Yeah, it could be the agent too.
Okay, it looks like we're good.
Okay.
So, all right. Yeah, so that's perfect. That's really the biggest thing I wanted people to understand is there's two very important factors here. One being that you're looking at the investment for the membership as an investment to have another source, another marketing source from what you're currently doing, and that it's not going to be that you're just going to get X amount of leads piled into your account. It's going to be that you need to be vigilant. And when you get notified of a lead, you're going to get notified on your cell phone. You can easily just click it to be able to win the lead, to go, jump into your account and win that lead. But the idea here is we're trying to, and again, I think it just comes from our call center experience. Speed to lead is incredibly important. So we want you to not just win the lead and then call it an hour later, 2 hours later, or whatever, because then you're just going to fall into the statistics that MIT put out a long time ago, and what you want to make sure to do is as soon as you win that lead, call that lead. And,
Right.
in the future here, fairly shortly in the future, we're going to be working, at a situation where DFY members will be able to win that lead. And by winning that lead, we'll kick them right into automation and have automation start following up with them as well to help increase your chances at getting a good contact rate and helping out that member. So I think the biggest thing is people hear a lot about all types of online leads, and they know that search leads are like that coveted lead because those are people who are actively already searching. It's not like on Facebook where we have to do an interrupt, right? Because that's what Facebook is. We're trying to interrupt whatever pattern they're doing and get their attention. And if it happens to be that they are looking for Medicare information, then they'll click. But in your scenario, the people who are actually filling out information are people who already have the intention of looking and getting this information today, right now, which is why they're on the online searching, which is why you, as an agent, if you win that lead, need to call them right away because they're already in the right mindset to get help.
They're looking at a quote. I can tell you exactly. If they've made a request on our system, not only do we know that their intent is high because they're actively searching for this online via Bing, via Google, right? We then take them to a second step. We make them go through our site, which is we leave everything ungated until the very end. So they've gone through 4, 5, 6 steps of giving us their information, and we know that our funnel converts at about 26%. So we want to get rid of the 75% that aren't willing to do anything today anyway, right? We're trying to do that for you. And so where in the past it may take you 175 leads to get to 5 sales, right? We're taking 25 because we're allowing the system to get rid of so much of that in the beginning because we don't want to waste your time. We don't want to waste our time, right? If they're not ready to make a buying decision or see a quote today, that's fine. Come back at a later date, right? And we lose them, and we don't try to get them back. We don't go after them in display. We don't go back to them on Facebook. We just don't go back to them. If they can't get through a 5 or 6 step process, then they're not really that interested. We want them to know why they're looking at our quote. That's critical to us. The second thing is when an agent clicks own, we give that consumer a headshot of the agent, their NPN number, the phone number that the agent's going to be calling them from, and their email. And so we look at this as a partnership, right? We're trusting that this agent from Fasmussen is going to service enrollmedicare.com visitors well. And so I would say make sure that you're able to write multiple products inside of a household. I mean, it's even better if you can write underage, right? Johnny Brock brought that up when I was talking to him last. He's written multiple ACH plans because somehow somebody fell into our site and they need coverage, right? So I'm not saying that that's going to be our primary focus, and we certainly don't advertise to those folks, but sometimes that just comes through.
What about? Go ahead, finish.
No. I mean, I was done. I was just saying, make sure that you can sell multiple plans, and you tell me. I mean, you've done that a million more times than me, Eric. But the agent that can sell like one thing. It's better if they can sell, if they have a nice suite of products that they can offer.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there a way, if people who are looking for these types of leads from the Spanish market, is there a way to tap into that?
So I've had this question before, and I think there will be come next year. We've beta test a few language options in the very beginning of our funnel, which is, I mean, we can modify our scripts to give them the information in Spanish or really any language that, I mean, Spanish predominantly kind of is where we were testing. That probably won't be available until next year. Now, we do have Spanish-speaking folks that come through our site, whether they're being assisted through somebody that's fluent. I'm not sure exactly. We haven't dug too deep into that, but that's a really good question, and we have explored that. The traffic isn't big enough today to bring that to spend that amount of time developing it, but I would absolutely consider that in the future.
Okay. I think.
What are your thoughts on that? I mean, that's a pretty good sized market, right?
Well, it's a huge market. Specifically, though, I would say it's more prevalent for the MA market than it is for the Med Sup market.
Okay.
And that's just the way the cookie crumbles, So I've noticed that the majority of the Hispanic market wants to go the MA route, and versus the Med Sup route. So I don't know. I mean, you tell me. I mean, what has been your experience in the search market for people looking for MA plans versus Med Sup?
It's both. I mean, it's both. So in the past, we only showed supplemental quotes, right? We just added MA this year. And so, and hey, get a message. If there's an agent that wants to pilot this with us, that's what we would need, a Spanish-speaking agent.
There you go.
And so if you have anybody, let me know.
Moises Lopez is the one who asked the question, so maybe he could reach out to you about that. And because he's a Spanish speaker in Spanish-speaking markets, so that's definitely his genre there. The last thing I want to cover here, because we got to get to wrapping up, but they're asking, like, if they do work with you, is there an API option to have leads API'd into maybe whatever CRM they have? Because obviously there's tons of options out there. I don't know if that's something they have access to right now or something you're going to work on next year. What's your...
Yeah, so we do have on our technical roadmap, we are going to work with a Zapier connection. A lot of agents in the field use a broad spectrum of CRMs. I can tell you who the first implementation will be. My boy, if you're truly wanting automations, once you own a prospect, it will slip right into Eric's system. And I know we've been friends for a long time, but really the advantage of that is you've set up your automations in a way that we know works.
Yeah.
And so as long as the technical lift is there and the need is there, we'll always be rolling things like that out. However, it hasn't been a focus to date, and it won't be prior to this year's AEP. It's probably going to be January or February next year. And everybody uses a different management system, right?
Yep.
And so we're not going to do custom integrations or API options past a set number of suites that are already available in the market.
Yeah. Okay.
And so,
perfect. Well, it's either way, it is coming, and there'll be a way eventually through Zapier to be able to do that. But if you're going to do it prior to this AEP, then just expect that you'll be working the leads through the Fasmussen system. The one last thing I want to leave with, because this isn't like a scarcity tactic, but there's limited room for this prior to AEP. So it's not going to be like, hey, this is open forever. Like there's going to be limited room for agents who want to join and be ready for this AEP to utilize the Fasmussen leads in their practice during AEP. Limited room. So that's why I'm just going to leave it up here one more time that if you want more information, if you want to go sign up, app.fastmussen.com / sign up. And that's where you can go and get help. Or is there a way, if people have questions, can they instant message you? Can they send you an email, like anything like that? So they can.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll throw that up on the screen. It's Aaron@fastmussen.com.
Okay.
And so happy to schedule a private Zoom training, whatever, kind of an in-depth view as far as like going through how the platform actually works. You can look us up on YouTube. We've got a Fasmussen channel. We've got a couple training videos out there on how our system actually works. And it's a really unique name. So like nobody gets it confused with anything. If you spell it correctly, it's like, it's just us.
Yeah.
So that's been really helpful. But
if
you spell it correctly, it's like a 70-30, But I will tell you to echo what you mentioned about limited room. We do not have more than 150 seats prior to AEP. And we've got about 110 of those already filled. Yeah. And so we're working with some really great agencies, and we're doing onboarding right now, right? We're onboarding agents. But we never bring on more subscriptions than we can fulfill that order for. So we do a traffic projection sit down every month. We look at what's coming in organically, what's coming in via ads, what do we have to spend to obviously accommodate our new subscribers. I can tell you before this AEP, we won't have any more than 150. We can't maintain the same amount of quality with quantity at this point.
Yeah.
So we're letting it kind of grow on its own.
Yeah, and that's definitely, like I said, that's key. There's a lot of people who will market past their ability to have quality, and I never like that. Like, I think it's important that if you want to be a solid company in it for the long term, you got to keep that quality side of things. So I think
I've never had a marketing company do that to me, Eric. I mean, usually they just deliver. I cut them a $500,000 check, and it's so perfect.
Well, you're so fortunate to never experienced such a thing. Good on you, brother.
Yeah. We've all spent a few extra $10,000 and not gotten what we were promised. So,
well, Aaron, I appreciate you being on here today and sharing about the program. I think a lot of agents are going to have interest in this, and they're going to want to take action before AEP to join this and add it to their repertoire. So, thanks so much again, dude. It's always awesome being able to chat with you. I love what you're doing in the marketplace. I'm behind you 100%, man. So anything we can do to support you, we will do it.
Eric, thanks for bringing me on. I look forward to seeing you soon.
All right, brother. Talk to you soon.
All right,
everybody else, see you on the next one. Thanks for watching the podcast. If you like the content, please hit the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel. That way you can get notified when more new content comes out. We'll see you on the next one.